The newest challenger to Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, why this candidate believes he's better and smarter for Texas. A Central Texas Republican shot during baseball practice in Virginia, what he's saying to Democrats as he recovers. And how a Boston rideshare company plans to grow in Austin, even as Uber and Lyft return as competition. The Night Beat starts now. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Chris Betts. We begin, though, with new information tonight. The U.S. Navy saying they have recovered the bodies of the 7 missing American sailors who disappeared after a major ship crash near Japan. The Navy releasing a statement tonight saying searchers had gained access to the spaces that were damaged during that collision between the USS Fitzgerald and a 30,000-ton container ship from the Philippines. They are currently working to identify the bodies at a nearby Japanese hospital. Their names will not be released until they have notified the victims' families. Meanwhile, the USS Fitzgerald is expected to be out of service indefinitely. Well, it is official. We finally hit those dreaded triple digits. KVUE meteorologist Nathan Gogo joining us now. Nathan, can we expect more of the same going into our Sunday? Yeah, we could see a couple more triple-digit temperatures as we head towards Father's Day even. Father's Day, we're looking at right around 100 degrees, and the humidity still quite elevated. And unfortunately, we hit 101, not just 100, but 101 for today, feeling even hotter, as hot as 110 in several cases because of that humidity out there. So certainly was dangerously hot. Hopefully you were able to stay cool and stay hydrated. 87 at Bergstrom right now, 88 at Camp Mabry, still feeling like the 90s when you factor in that humidity. 87 in Bastrop Giddings, good evening, 83. Tonight, low temperatures, mid-70s as we wake up for Sunday morning for Father's Day. We'll be taking a look at the Father's Day forecast and much more coming up in full weather in a few minutes. Chris. All right, thank you, Nathan. Well, Congressman Roger Williams is opening up about the Alexandria shooting just days after the incident.
I was hitting ground balls on the third base side to our third baseman, Trent Kelly, and little did I know at that time that the perpetrator was probably 20 yards behind me.
Authorities say a gunman opened fire on Republican lawmakers practicing for a congressional baseball game. 5 people were hurt, including Williams' aide, Zach Barth, who is a UT graduate, and House Majority Whip Steve Scalise. Williams hurt his ankle running for cover.
Finally, it all ended. They said, get up, come on out here, and none of us were willing to get up because we didn't know who was telling us that.
The congressman says he and his family are thankful for the police officers who responded to the shooting. Barth is now recovering with family. He is expected to be okay. Meanwhile, medical staff upgraded Scalise from critical to serious condition today. Williams is expected to speak here in Austin on Monday. Well, he calls himself Dan Patrick's worst nightmare, a Democrat with a CPA license. He plans to fix school funding and property taxes. This afternoon, Houston Democrat Mike Collier officially announced his bid for lieutenant governor in Round Rock. He'll be running against Dan Patrick in 2018 and thinks that he has a pretty good chance of winning.
I've run statewide before, so I know where the votes are. We have enough votes. It's going to be a very fiscal responsibility platform, and keep government out of my life, and don't borrow too much money, and be honest with your policies. Those votes are there, and I'm going to find them.
Collier, a longtime PricewaterhouseCoopers accountant from the Houston area, was the Democratic nominee for comptroller in 2014. He lost to Glenn Hager by more than 20 points. Earlier this year, Collier announced that he was stepping down as finance chairman of the Texas Democratic Party to begin his campaign for lieutenant governor. Supporters say they liked what he stood for then, and they still like it now.
He's refreshing, he's honest, he's smart, he knows the issues, he cares about people, and he doesn't want to legislate by religion, and I think that's extremely important for those of us in Texas.
And given the current political climate in Texas, Collier believes he has a pretty good chance of winning this race. We'll find out next year. Well, it is the first time in a year that Uber and Lyft are able to operate in Austin since Fasten has been one of the apps dominating the ride-sharing industry. And tonight, Fasten put on a festival and concert to celebrate their one-year anniversary. The Night Beat's Nicole Rosales spoke to Fasten about how they're moving forward now that the 2 mega companies are picking up where they left off.
Even though the competition is back, the CEO of Fasten says he believes the loyalty from his riders that will help continue to make his company thrive.
For this group, it's a time for celebration.
It's officially been a year since the Boston-based company Fasten joined the Austin community.
Austin was always on the list of cities where we're going to go to, but it was number 2. It became number 2 as soon as Prop 1 happened in Austin.
Prop 1 is the requirement for rideshare companies to enforce fingerprint background checks as well as other conditions, requirements that Uber and Lyft refused last spring. Now the two major companies have made a comeback, something Fasten's COO isn't worried about.
As a matter of fact, we're growing, and we know what competition with them looks like. We've been competing with them in Boston for almost 2 years now.
Vlad Christoph believes they've reached a milestone.
Simply because we were needed. Drivers needed something, to earn money. Riders needed to get around. So it made perfect sense.
The company put a special festival for riders Saturday, offering free food, drinks, even music. Their way of giving back to the community.
Now that I'm used to Fasten, I'm not going to change because Uber or Lyft came in.
I've always kind of liked sticking up for the little guy.
Although the competition is still fierce, for Fasten driver Corey Black, he says it's loyalty that will keep them going.
Our feeling is like tourists will probably go back to Uber and Lyft because they're familiar with it and they use it in their city and they only want to have 1 or 2 apps. Whereas locals, and we'll really see when UT comes back into session for fall what the the demand is going to be. And I really hope that the vast majority of them will stick with Fasten.
Now this event is set to last until 1 a.m. and admission is free. Reporting in East Austin, Nicole Rosales, KVUE News 9.
Out in there. Thank you, Nicole.